"Touch me once and I won't spare you, human," she said, leaving me speechless. The planet's surface was covered in thick clouds that glowed with strange colors, almost like fire mixed with water. From orbit, it looked beautiful, but as he descended in his small scout ship, he could feel danger in the air. His mission was simple: explore, gather information, and report back. But as soon as he entered the atmosphere, his instruments began to fail. Lights flickered and the ship shook violently. Ethan gripped the controls tightly, his jaw set. He had faced storms in space before, but this felt different. There was a strange energy here, something he could not understand. The storm forced him to land far from any clearings. The ship hit the ground hard and alarms blared. Ethan cursed under his breath and scrambled to stabilize the vessel. The landing gear had bent slightly and the hull had scratches, but the ship was still functional enough to get him out. He stepped out onto the alien soil. The air was thick, almost sticky, and it smelled like metal mixed with rain. Strange plants surrounded him. They were tall, twisting, and glowing faintly at the edges. The ground squished under his boots, and he had to be careful not to step into pools of glowing liquid. He checked his pack. He had a small blaster, a multi-tool, and a few rations. That would have to be enough if he needed to survive outside for a while. He took a deep breath and started walking, scanning the area. He had no idea what might be waiting for him. After walking for what felt like an hour, he noticed movement among the glowing trees. At first, he thought it was a wild animal, but then he saw her. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. Standing tall, with skin that shimmered like silver in the strange light, she held a weapon that pulsed with energy. Her eyes were sharp, almost glowing, and she moved with grace and power. Ethan froze. He had trained for hostile encounters before, but this was different. He had never faced anything like this. The alien looked at him, and he felt as if she could see everything about him, his thoughts, his fears, his courage. She did not speak at first, just stared. Then, with a voice that was strong but soft at the same time, she said, "Touch me once and I won't spare you, human." Ethan swallowed hard. He had expected threats from other humans, even from alien mercenaries in previous missions, but never like this. The words were serious, full of warning and power. He wanted to move, but his feet felt stuck. I don't want to fight," he said carefully. He raised his hand slightly to show he meant no harm. The alien's eyes narrowed and she tilted her head. Her weapon glowed brighter for a moment. "Why should I believe you?" she asked. "Your kind has brought death to many planets. Why are you here?" Ethan's heart pounded. He had no simple answer that would make sense to her, but he tried anyway. "I'm not here to fight, I'm just exploring. I crash-landed. I need help to survive." She stared at him for a long moment. The tension between them was thick, almost suffocating. Every instinct in Ethan's body told him to be ready to run or fight. But he also sensed that this alien, whatever her name was, had rules, a code. If he followed it, he might live. Finally, she spoke again. "I am Luna Kale," she said, "warrior princess of my people. You are far from home, human, but your life will not end yet. Follow me and do exactly as I say. One wrong move and it will be your last." Ethan nodded quickly. "Okay, I'll follow. I won't make a mistake." Luna moved ahead, walking through the glowing forest with ease. Ethan followed, careful not to step too close to the glowing plants or any strange liquid. He tried to observe her, to understand more about her people, but the only thing he could focus on was her presence. She was both beautiful and dangerous, every movement deliberate, every step precise. The forest grew darker as they walked. Strange noises echoed through the air, high-pitched screeches, rustling leaves, and the occasional distant roar. Ethan kept his blaster ready, though he hoped he would not need it. "Stay close," Luna said suddenly, her voice breaking the silence. "This forest is not safe for your kind. Many creatures will see you as food." Ethan shivered. He had trained for dangerous worlds, but this felt different. The air was alive with threats he could not see. Yet, despite the fear, he also felt a spark of curiosity. He had never seen anything like this. Every plant, every sound, every shadow seemed full of life and mystery. Hours passed as they moved through the forest. Ethan had begun to notice patterns, plants that glowed when they were touched, vines that seemed to react to movement, and small creatures that watched them from the branches above. Luna seemed at ease, as if she had walked this forest all her life. At one point, they reached a clearing. A small waterfall poured into a glowing pool, and the mist created small rainbows in the air. Ethan could not help but stop and look. "This place is amazing," he said quietly. Luna glanced at him. Do not be distracted, she warned. The beauty here does not make it safe. We are not alone. Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of awe and fear. He realized that Luna was not just a warrior, she was a protector. And if he wanted to survive on this planet, he would have to learn from her. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from the bushes. Luna raised her weapon instantly. Ethan froze, watching as her eyes scanned the area. A small, glowing creature jumped out, moving quickly and disappearing into the trees. You see, Luna said, even small things can be deadly here, remember that. Ethan swallowed. He realized that his training as a human soldier would not be enough. On this planet, he would need more than skill. He would need understanding, patience, and trust. And most importantly, he would need to gain the trust of Luna Kale, the warrior princess who had warned him with a single sentence that could have ended his life. The night fell and the forest grew even stranger. Bioluminescent plants lit their path, but shadows seemed to move even in the light. Ethan followed Luna closely, noticing how she moved like a shadow herself, silent and precise. Finally, they reached a small plateau overlooking a valley. The view was breathtaking. Towering cliffs glowed faintly and rivers of strange liquid ran like silver threads. Luna stopped and gestured for Ethan to stay back. I will scout ahead, she said. Do not move. Ethan nodded. He watched as she disappeared into the darkness, moving silently among the rocks. He could only wait, hoping she would return and not see him as a threat. Minutes felt like hours. Ethan's mind raced with questions. Who were her people? What kind of civilization did they have? And most importantly, why had she spared him when she could have ended his life with a single touch? Finally, Luna returned. She looked at him carefully, her expression unreadable. You have survived your first day, she said. That is more than most humans would do. But do not think your life is safe yet. Tomorrow will test you more. Ethan nodded, feeling a strange mixture of relief and fear. He had survived the first encounter, but he knew that on this planet, survival was only the beginning. As they settled near a small rock formation for the night, Ethan could not help but look at Luna. She was watching the forest, alert for any danger. He realized that despite her warning and her strength, there was a spark of curiosity in her eyes, a hint that she wanted to understand him as much as he wanted to understand her. Ethan lay down, staring at the strange sky above. The stars were different here, brighter and sharper than anything he had seen on Earth. He thought about the day ahead, about the dangers, and about Luna Kale. One thing was certain, his life had changed forever. He had arrived as an explorer, but he would soon find himself a part of something much larger, something beyond his understanding. And at the center of it all was the alien warrior who had warned him with a single, unforgettable sentence. Touch me once, and I won't spare you, human. Ethan closed his eyes, trying to rest. Tomorrow, he would follow Luna deeper into the unknown, into a world where humans were not the strongest, and where survival meant more than strength. It meant courage, trust, and the will to face the impossible. And as the alien night settled around him, Ethan felt a strange hope. Maybe, just maybe, he could survive. Maybe, just maybe, he could earn her respect. The sun had not yet risen when Ethan woke. The alien sky was still dark, but faint streaks of light hinted at the coming day. He stretched his arms and looked at Luna. She was already awake, standing nearby, scanning the forest with sharp, careful eyes. Ethan admired her focus. Every movement she made was precise, full of purpose. Morning, he said softly, not wanting to startle her. Luna glanced at him, her expression unreadable. Do not make noise, she said. This forest does not forgive mistakes. Even the smallest sound can attract predators. Ethan nodded and kept quiet. He packed his small rations, careful not to disturb the glowing plants around them. Despite the warning, he felt a strange sense of excitement. He had never been on a planet like this. Every step he took was new, every sound unusual. He knew the journey ahead would test him, but he also knew that Luna would be the only one who could guide him safely. After a few minutes, Luna turned to him. We move at first light. Follow my lead. Do not try anything foolish. I won't, Ethan replied. He felt a mix of nervousness and determination. He did not know what awaited them, but he was ready to face it. As the first light of the alien sun touched the forest, Luna led the way. Ethan followed, careful not to step on the strange, glowing plants. The forest seemed alive. Trees twisted and turned in impossible shapes, and vines reached out like fingers as if testing their presence. Strange birds with silver feathers flew above, their cries sharp and loud. Ethan's senses were on high alert. Luna moved silently, weaving between trees and rocks as if she were part of the forest. Ethan tried to imitate her movements, but he stumbled once and nearly fell. Luna's eyes narrowed and she gave a small shake of her head. "You must be careful," she said. "This is not a place for clumsy humans." "I'll do better," he said quickly. He did not want to disappoint her, and he knew that any mistake could cost him his life. Hours passed as they moved through the forest. Ethan began to notice small details. The way some plants closed when touched, how some creatures only came out in the shadows, and how the air seemed to change in different parts of the forest. He realized that Luna was teaching him without speaking much. Her movements, her choices, and her constant vigilance were lessons in survival. At one point, they reached a narrow path between two cliffs. The path was slippery and dangerous, with sharp rocks below. Ethan's heart pounded as he followed Luna. One wrong step could mean a deadly fall. "You must trust yourself," Luna said quietly. "And you must trust me. I will not lead you to death, but only if you follow my rules." Ethan nodded. "I trust you," he said. She glanced at him, a hint of surprise in her eyes. "Do not speak too much," she said. "Words are for those who can afford them. We do not have that luxury here." They continued in silence. The forest grew denser and the air thicker. Ethan felt sweat on his brow and his muscles ached from keeping up with Luna's pace. Yet he felt a strange thrill. He had faced dangerous situations before, but nothing like this. Here he was small, human, fragile, but he also felt alive. As they walked, Luna suddenly stopped and held up a hand. Ethan froze. Ahead he saw movement in the bushes. Something large, fast, and powerful was moving toward them. Luna's eyes narrowed and she whispered, "Stay behind me." The creature emerged. It was massive, with long limbs and glowing eyes. Its skin was dark and covered in scales. It hissed and moved with incredible speed, circling them. Ethan's heart raced. He raised his blaster, but Luna's hand on his shoulder stopped him. "Do not fire unless I say," she said. "We can handle this without unnecessary risk." The creature lunged suddenly, but Luna moved with impossible speed. She swung her weapon, a blade of energy, and struck the creature's side. It screeched in pain but did not stop. Ethan realized that Luna's strength and speed were beyond anything he had ever seen. "You are fast," he said, trying not to sound frightened. "Focus," she said sharply. "Do not speak. Watch and learn." Together, they managed to drive the creature away. Luna moved with skill and precision, while Ethan followed her instructions exactly. He realized that survival on this planet depended not only on strength, but on trust, obedience, and understanding the alien ways. After the encounter, they rested for a moment near a small stream. Ethan drank some water, careful not to contaminate it with his human equipment. Luna watched him silently, her weapon ready, her senses alert. "You did well," she said finally. "Most humans would have panicked. You did not." "Thanks," Ethan said, still catching his breath. "I learned from watching you. You're incredible." Luna's eyes softened slightly. "Do not be foolish. I'm your guide, not your friend. Survival comes first." Ethan nodded, understanding her warning, but he also felt a strange bond forming. In a world where humans were weak and unprepared, he had someone powerful by his side. He realized that this bond, fragile as it was, could mean the difference between life and death. They continued their journey, moving deeper into the alien forest. Along the way, Luna pointed out dangers, teaching Ethan to notice patterns in the environment. He learned to identify edible plants, dangerous creatures, and hidden paths that could help them avoid ambushes. As they walked, Ethan began to understand Luna's world. Her people were not just warriors. They were guardians of the planet, skilled in ways humans could barely comprehend. He felt respect growing inside him. He was a human far from home, but he was learning from someone extraordinary. By midday, they reached a small clearing with a strange structure. It looked like a tower made of smooth, dark stone that shimmered in the sunlight. Luna approached it cautiously, scanning for threats. Ethan followed, his senses alert. "This is an old watchtower," Luna said quietly. "It has been here for centuries. It is safe to rest for a short time, but we must not linger. The forest is alive and it watches everything." Ethan nodded and settled near the base of the tower. He could feel the weight of the forest around him, as if it were alive and aware of every movement. Luna stayed near the top of the tower, her weapon ready, her eyes scanning the horizon. As Ethan rested, he thought about the human worlds he had left behind. He remembered the cities, the people, and the missions. None of it seemed real compared to this place. Here, he was small and fragile, but he was also alive in a way he had never felt before. Luna's presence was constant, a reminder that he was not alone. He realized that trust was growing between them, even if neither would admit it. He had seen her strength, her skill, and her vigilance, and he had survived because of her guidance. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest. Ethan and Luna moved carefully to find a safe place for the night. The forest grew darker and strange sounds echoed around them. He stayed close to Luna, knowing that she was the only reason he was alive. As they settled for the night, Luna spoke softly. "Tomorrow we must move further. The dangers will grow and the forest will not forgive mistakes. You must remember everything you have learned today." "I will," Ethan said. "I won't make a mistake." Luna's eyes softened slightly. "Do not speak so easily. Words are cheap here." Actions matter, Ethan understood. He had learned more in one day than in years of human training. He had faced danger, relied on his wits, and followed someone stronger than himself. And he had survived. As he lay down, staring at the alien sky, Ethan felt a strange sense of determination. He knew the days ahead would be harder, filled with unknown threats and challenges. But he also knew that he was not alone. He had Luna Kale, the warrior princess, guiding him, protecting him, and pushing him to survive. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt that he was not just a human among the stars. He was a survivor, a learner, and perhaps in some small way a part of something much larger than himself. And as the alien night fell around him, Ethan closed his eyes, ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. The journey had just begun, and the bond between human and alien, fragile as it was, would shape the days to come. The morning came slowly, painting the alien forest with soft, glowing light. Ethan Brooks woke to the strange sounds of the forest. Birds with silver feathers called from the trees, and the ground seemed to pulse faintly with energy. He stretched carefully and looked at Luna Kale. She was already awake, standing near the edge of the clearing, scanning the forest with her sharp eyes. "Are you ready?" she asked, her voice calm but firm. Ethan nodded. "Yes, I've learned a lot since yesterday. I'll follow you." Luna studied him for a moment, then nodded slightly. "Good, today we go deeper. The dangers will grow and the forest will test you more. You must stay alert." Ethan tightened his pack and followed her as she moved through the trees. Every step she took was careful, precise, like she knew the forest better than anything else in the world. Ethan tried to match her pace, keeping his eyes on the ground, watching for traps, creatures, and dangerous plants. The forest grew denser. Sunlight barely reached the ground, and shadows moved in strange ways. Ethan noticed the plants seemed to shift when they walked past, almost as if the forest itself was alive. Luna did not speak much, but every movement she made taught him something new: how to move quietly, how to watch without being seen, how to anticipate danger. After walking for hours, they reached a high ridge overlooking a valley. Ethan gasped. The view was breathtaking. Rivers of glowing liquid twisted through the land and cliffs rose like jagged towers, but it was not just beauty that caught his attention. In the valley below, he saw movement, large shapes that did not belong to the forest, moving quickly, coordinated, and dangerous. Luna followed his gaze and narrowed her eyes. "They are scouts," she said softly. "A rival faction. They plan to invade my people's lands. We must be careful. If they see us, they will attack immediately." Ethan's heart pounded. He had never seen anything like this. He had expected danger from animals, storms, or natural hazards, but not organized enemies. "What do we do?" he asked. Luna turned to him. "We watch. We learn and we move carefully. You will see how my people defend our lands. You will see how strategy works in a world far different from your human battles." They crouched behind rocks and watched as the alien scouts moved below. Ethan noticed their weapons, strange and glowing, and their speed almost matching Luna's own. He realized that these were not ordinary creatures. They were trained warriors, and they had deadly intent. Luna studied them silently. "They will strike soon. We must warn the council before it is too late. You will help, human. Your knowledge of tactics may give us an advantage." Ethan swallowed hard. He had never led an alien army, but he had experience in strategy, and he knew that survival depended on quick thinking. He nodded. "I'll do my best." Luna gave a small, approving nod. "Good, but remember, mistakes here are fatal. One wrong move and it will end badly." They moved down the ridge carefully, keeping to the shadows. Luna taught him how to read the terrain, where to hide, and how to move silently. Ethan followed her instructions closely, realizing that every lesson could mean the difference between life and death. As they approached the alien city, Ethan noticed the walls, high and strong, shimmering with strange energy. Luna pointed to a hidden entrance, small and almost invisible. "This is our way in. Scouts will not see us here. We must move fast." They slipped through the entrance, and Ethan was amazed. Inside, the city was unlike anything he had imagined. Towers of smooth, glowing metal rose high, and creatures with sleek forms moved with purpose. There was a sense of order, strength, and intelligence in everything he saw. Luna led him through narrow corridors and hidden paths. Finally, they reached a chamber where a group of aliens stood in council. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He had never been in the presence of a council like this. Their expressions were serious, their eyes sharp. Luna stepped forward and announced him. "This human is Ethan Brooks," she said. "He has survived our forest, followed my rules, and learned quickly. He may help us defend our lands from the invading faction." The council members looked at Ethan carefully. Some were suspicious, others curious. One stepped forward, its voice deep and commanding. "Why should we trust a human? Your kind has brought destruction before." Ethan swallowed and spoke clearly. "I am not here to destroy. I want to help. I have experience in strategy and protecting people. If you allow me, I can help defend your city." Luna studied him, then the council. Finally, one of the elders nodded. "We will give you a chance. But know this, human, failure is not an option. If you fail, it will cost many lives." Ethan nodded. "I understand." Luna led him to a small observation tower overlooking the city walls. From there, they could see the enemy scouts moving in the valley. Ethan's eyes widened. The invading force was large, organized, and clearly prepared for war. He realized that survival here would require every skill he had, and more. Luna explained their defenses, showing Ethan the energy shields, the patrol routes, and the weapon placements. Ethan noticed weaknesses, small gaps that could be exploited. "If we adjust the patrols and use some traps, we could slow them down," he said quietly. Luna looked at him, surprised. "You understand strategy, perhaps more than I expected." "We will follow your advice, but only if you follow mine. You are human. You are not as strong as we are. Do not forget that." Ethan nodded. "I won't forget." They worked together for hours, planning how to defend the city. Luna taught him how to position forces, how to anticipate enemy movements, and how to use the terrain to their advantage. Ethan realized that his human knowledge could be valuable here, even against alien warriors. As the sun began to set, Luna and Ethan took positions along the walls. The enemy scouts were moving closer, and tension filled the air. Ethan's heart raced, but he trusted Luna. She had trained him, guided him, and taught him to survive. Now it was time to act. The first attack came just as darkness fell. The scouts moved quickly, trying to find a weak point. Luna's warriors were ready, and Ethan gave instructions to adjust positions and use traps. The battle was fast, chaotic, and deadly. Ethan watched as Luna moved like a shadow, striking with precision, protecting her people while taking down enemies with skill he could barely comprehend. Ethan followed his plan, using strategy to slow the enemy. He gave orders to redirect forces, set traps, and lure attackers into narrow paths where they could be contained. Luna glanced at him once, and for a moment he saw a flash of respect in her eyes. The battle continued through the night. Many lives were lost on both sides, but Ethan and Luna's coordination gave the city an advantage. By dawn, the enemy scouts had retreated, defeated, and confused. Luna's people had survived, and the city was safe, for now. Luna looked at Ethan, her expression unreadable. "You did well," she said quietly. "You were valuable today, perhaps more than I expected." Ethan felt relief, but also exhaustion. He had never faced anything like this. The battle had tested every skill, every thought, every instinct he had, and yet he had survived. "You taught me well," he said, smiling faintly. "I couldn't have done it without you." Luna's eyes softened slightly. "Do not speak too easily. Respect is earned, not given, but you have shown courage, and that is worth something." Ethan nodded. He realized that trust between them was growing, fragile but real. He had seen Luna's strength, her wisdom, and her vigilance. He had learned from her, and together they had defended a city. As the sun rose over the alien valley, Ethan knew that the challenges were far from over. The rival faction was still out there, larger and more dangerous. But for the first time, he felt a sense of belonging. He was a human, yes, but he was part of a story bigger than himself. And Luna Kale, the warrior princess who had once warned him with a single deadly sentence, now looked at him as an ally. The bond between human and alien had begun, and it would be tested in the battles to come. The night was quiet for a brief moment, but Ethan Brooks knew it would not last. From the observation tower, he could see the distant glow of the enemy gathering in the valley. Luna Kale stood beside him, her eyes sharp and alert. She did not speak, but her presence filled him with a strange mix of fear and determination. "They are preparing," Luna said softly. "Soon they will attack in full force. You must be ready, human." "I cannot save you if you make a mistake." Ethan nodded. His hands tightened on the controls he had brought to monitor the defenses. He had spent hours with Luna planning, positioning forces, and setting traps. Now it was time to see if their strategy would work. As darkness deepened, the enemy moved closer. Their numbers were overwhelming, larger than Ethan had imagined. Towers of strange metal and glowing weapons shimmered in the distance, and the ground shook as they approached. Luna's warriors lined the walls, silent and ready. Ethan felt a surge of nervous energy. "Stay close," Luna whispered. "Follow my lead, watch everything." The first wave struck suddenly. Ethan's heart pounded as the enemy charged the walls, glowing weapons raised. Luna moved like a shadow, striking with precision. Her blade of energy cut through the attackers with speed and skill Ethan could barely follow. He realized that her strength was incredible, far beyond any human he had seen. Ethan followed the plan they had made. He coordinated the defenses, giving orders to shift forces to weak points, using traps to slow down the attackers, and directing archers and ranged units to key positions. His human knowledge of tactics proved valuable. Even Luna glanced at him once, a small look of approval crossing her face. The battle intensified. Ethan saw warriors falling on both sides. Explosions of energy lit the night sky, and the screams of combat echoed through the city. He moved quickly, helping to redirect forces, giving precise instructions, and using every bit of knowledge he had from his human training. Suddenly, a large enemy commander appeared, moving faster and stronger than any other. Luna recognized it instantly and charged forward. Ethan followed, trying to stay close without getting in her way. The commander's weapon glowed with deadly energy, and it struck the ground, sending shockwaves that threw Ethan off balance. Luna engaged the commander directly. Ethan watched, heart pounding, as she dodged attacks and countered with skill. The fight was fast, brutal, and dangerous. One mistake could end her life, and with it the city's hope. Ethan's mind raced. He had to act and fast. He remembered a weak point in the terrain, a narrow path where the commander could be trapped. He yelled instructions to a small group of warriors. "Lure it here, use the traps, force it into the canyon." The warriors moved quickly, following Ethan's orders. The commander roared in frustration as it stumbled into the narrow path. Luna took advantage of the moment, striking with incredible force. The commander fell, defeated, but not without leaving scars on the ground and walls. Ethan felt a wave of relief, but the battle was far from over. The enemy was still attacking from other directions, relentless and organized. He ran along the walls, coordinating forces, giving instructions, and helping wherever he could. He realized that his human skills, his ability to think quickly, plan, and adapt, were making a difference. At one point, a group of enemy soldiers broke through a section of the wall. Luna was engaged elsewhere, and Ethan had only seconds to act. He grabbed a fallen weapon and charged forward, using his strength and training to hold the attackers back until reinforcements arrived. He fought hard, relying on speed, skill, and determination. Luna noticed his actions and moved quickly to help. Together, they pushed the enemy back, sealing the breach. Ethan felt a rush of adrenaline. He was human, yes, but he had made a real difference in this alien world. Hours passed in a blur of combat. Ethan's muscles ached. His mind was exhausted, but he did not stop. He had learned from Luna, and now he was applying those lessons. He moved with purpose, striking, directing, and protecting wherever he could. The final wave approached as dawn began to break. The enemy was desperate, throwing everything they had at the city. Luna and her warriors were exhausted, but they fought with unmatched skill and determination. Ethan saw an opportunity to turn the tide. He spotted a group of enemy archers on a hill, aiming at Luna's forces below. He took a calculated risk, charging through a dangerous path to reach them. Using traps, obstacles, and quick thinking, he disrupted their formation and neutralized the threat. His actions saved countless lives. Luna noticed and gave him a small nod of respect. "You are more than I expected," she said quietly, though her eyes never left the battle. The enemy faltered. Their formation broke, and Luna led a final charge that pushed them out of the city. Exhausted, injured, but victorious, the defenders watched as the remaining attackers fled. The city was safe, for now. Ethan collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily. Luna came to him, her expression unreadable. She studied him for a moment, then said softly, "You have survived the impossible, human. You have shown courage and skill. Few could have done what you did tonight." Ethan smiled weakly, exhausted but proud. "I couldn't have done it without you. You taught me everything." "You're incredible." Luna looked at him, a hint of something he could not name in her eyes. "Do not speak so easily. Actions, not words, are what matter here, but you have earned my respect." Ethan nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Respect in this world was not given lightly, and earning it meant more than anything. He had faced death, risked his life, and stood beside a warrior unlike any he had ever seen. The city began to recover. Healers tended to the wounded, and Luna's people rebuilt the damaged walls. Ethan moved among them, helping wherever he could. He realized that humans, small and fragile, could still make a difference in worlds far beyond their own. As the sun rose fully over the alien city, Ethan and Luna stood together on the wall, looking out over the valley. The enemy had retreated, but the threat was not gone. Ethan knew that battles would come again, larger and more dangerous. But he also knew something else. He had proven himself. He had survived when others would have fallen. He had fought beside Luna, saved lives, and shown that a human could be more than expected. Luna looked at him again. "Tomorrow we prepare. The enemy will return, stronger and more cunning. You will need to be ready, but today you have done well." Ethan felt a sense of pride. He was tired, injured, and exhausted, but he also felt alive in a way he had never felt before. He had faced impossible odds and survived. He had earned respect in a world where humans were not the strongest. And Luna Kale, the warrior princess who had once warned him with a single deadly sentence, now looked at him as an equal, an ally, a fighter, and someone she could trust in the battles to come. As they stood together, watching the sun rise, Ethan knew that the journey was far from over. But for the first time, he felt that he belonged in this world, that he had a purpose beyond survival. He was a human, yes, but he was strong, capable, and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And as the city stirred around them, preparing for the next threat, Ethan made a silent promise to himself. He would protect this place, stand beside Luna, and prove that humans, even in the face of overwhelming odds, could survive and even thrive among the stars. The city was quiet for the first time since Ethan Brooks had arrived. The enemy had retreated, and Luna Kale's people were beginning to repair the damage from the previous night's battle. Ethan stood on the city wall, watching the rising sun paint the alien landscape in warm colors. He was tired, every muscle aching, but he felt a strange sense of peace. For the first time, he had survived, not just as a human, but as someone who had made a difference in this alien world. Luna joined him silently. She looked out over the valley, her expression calm yet alert. Ethan noticed a softness in her eyes, a quiet pride that she did not usually show. "The enemy has gone for now," she said, "but they will return. You must be ready." Ethan nodded. "I will, but today we rest. We've earned it." Luna's eyes studied him carefully. "You have proven yourself, human. You are not weak like I thought. You are clever, strong, and brave. I did not expect this from someone of your kind." Ethan smiled faintly. "I've had a good teacher." She glanced at him, her gaze sharp but thoughtful. "Do not speak too easily. Words are cheap here. Actions matter, and your actions have earned respect." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. Respect from Luna Kale, the warrior princess who had once warned him with deadly seriousness, meant more than he could explain. It was a recognition that humans, small and fragile in this vast galaxy, could survive and even excel when they tried. As they walked through the city, Ethan noticed the changes since the battle. The wounded were being treated, walls repaired, and supplies distributed. The citizens moved with renewed energy, their trust in their leadership stronger after surviving the attack. Luna's people worked efficiently, but he could see the relief in their eyes. They had survived, and the human who had joined them had helped make it possible. Luna led him to a quiet area near a small fountain. Water glowed softly, illuminating the smooth stones around them. She gestured for him to sit. Ethan lowered himself carefully, exhaustion weighing on him. "You fought well," Luna said quietly. You did not falter when others might have. You made decisions, saved lives, and stood beside us in battle. Few humans could do what you did. Ethan leaned back, letting the weight of fatigue settle over him. I couldn't have done it without your guidance. You taught me everything, how to move, how to think, how to survive here. I'm just glad I could help. Luna's eyes softened. You are more than just a helper. You are a part of this now. My people will remember your actions. You have shown that humans are capable of more than they are given credit for. Ethan felt a swell of pride. He had left Earth as a lone explorer, unsure of his place in the galaxy. Now he was part of something bigger, something he had helped shape. The alien world, dangerous and strange as it was, had accepted him, at least partially, as one of their own. As the day went on, Luna took him to meet the council again. They were no longer suspicious of him. The elder who had questioned his presence before now nodded respectfully. You have proven yourself human. Your courage and knowledge have helped save many lives. You are welcome here. Ethan felt a mixture of humility and pride. Thank you. I never expected to be welcomed like this. I only wanted to help. Another council member spoke. Your people may see humans as weak, but today you have shown strength beyond what is expected. Remember this, human. You have a place here now. Luna guided Ethan back through the city, pointing out areas still being repaired and citizens he had helped save. Ethan realized that the bond between him and Luna, and even her people, was growing stronger. He was no longer just a visitor. He was an ally, a protector, and perhaps, in a small way, a symbol that humans could survive and thrive even in alien worlds. As evening approached, Ethan and Luna climbed to the top of a tall tower overlooking the city. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting the alien landscape in shades of red and gold. Ethan leaned against the railing, exhausted but content. You have changed things here, Luna said quietly. Your presence, it has made a difference. You have shown that humans can be more than expected. That alone is remarkable. Ethan looked at her, a small smile forming. I just did what I could. You taught me how to be strong here. You saved me more than once? Luna turned her gaze to him, her expression soft but serious. You are clever, human. You have courage and you have earned trust. Few could have done what you did. Remember that. Trust is everything here. Ethan nodded. I'll remember. And I'll keep proving it, not just for you, but for everyone who depends on me. For a long time, they stood in silence, watching the city below. The glow of the lights, the sounds of rebuilding, and the calm after the storm filled Ethan with a strange sense of belonging. He was far from Earth, in a world he did not fully understand, but he felt at home in a way he had never imagined. Later, Luna brought him to a small living space prepared for him. It was simple but clean, with soft bedding and basic supplies. Ethan lay down, exhausted, but his mind was alive with thoughts. He had survived impossible odds, fought alongside a warrior princess, and earned respect in a world that had once been foreign and dangerous. As he drifted toward sleep, he thought about the future. The enemy had retreated, but they would return. The battles would continue and the challenges would grow. But he was ready. He had learned, adapted, and proven that humans could survive and even thrive in alien worlds. Luna's voice echoed in his mind, the memory of her warning still vivid. Touch me once and I won't spare you, human. At first, it had filled him with fear. Now he understood it differently. It was a test, a measure of his courage, and a challenge to rise beyond his limits. And he had met that challenge. The next morning, the city was alive with activity. Ethan helped coordinate repairs, guided patrols, and shared strategies with Luna's people. He moved with purpose, confidence growing with every task he completed. The aliens looked to him not just as a human visitor, but as someone who had proven his worth. Luna watched silently, noting his progress. She had been skeptical at first, as any warrior would be, but Ethan had shown skill, courage, and intelligence beyond her expectations. She realized that humans, even fragile and small, could make a difference in ways no one had predicted. As the day ended, Luna took Ethan to the edge of the city, overlooking the valley where the enemy had gathered before. She gestured toward the horizon. They may return. The galaxy is not safe, but you have shown strength, human. You have survived and you have made a difference. Remember this. Humans can achieve more than they are given credit for. Ethan felt a swell of pride. I will, and I'll keep helping no matter what comes. Luna gave a small nod. Good, we will need your strength, your courage, and your mind. But today we remember victory, and today you have earned your place here. As the sun set, painting the sky with colors he had never seen on Earth, Ethan looked at Luna. The warrior princess who had once threatened him with a single deadly sentence now stood beside him as an equal. He realized that trust, respect, and courage were stronger than fear or doubt. He had come to this planet as a lone human, uncertain of his place. Now he was more than that. He was a survivor, a fighter, a trusted ally. And he had proven not just to Luna or her people, but to himself, that humans could rise to challenges far beyond what anyone expected. As night fell, Ethan lay down under the alien sky. Stars twinkled above, unfamiliar constellations shining brightly. He thought about the journey ahead, the battles, the dangers, and the unknowns, but he no longer felt fear. He had Luna by his side, allies around him, and the knowledge that even a human could change the course of events in worlds far from Earth. And as he closed his eyes, he felt a sense of hope and belonging he had never known before. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but humans, even small and fragile, could survive, and even thrive if they were brave, clever, and willing to rise beyond what others expected. Ethan Brooks had come to an alien world as a stranger. He would remain as a hero, a protector, and a symbol that humanity, no matter where it traveled, could make a difference. The journey was far from over, but for the first time he felt truly alive.